Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. I am Mayor Sherry Cantor. I'm the mayor of West Hartford, and I am proud to be here to talk about the challenges that we have in Connecticut, and in particular, the challenge of investing in our infrastructure. We're at a crossroads in the state of Connecticut. We understand that we can't continue with business as usual. We need to make a maximum impact on our infrastructure, our traffic, and our public safety with a minimum impact to the taxpayers of the state of Connecticut. So that's what we're here to talk about today. We know that we have 81 million hours of delay. That's 81 million hours of delay on our roads in Connecticut. That's worth $1.9 billion a year in traffic. That bottlenecks in the Fairfield County area and in the Hartford area. We have to do something. Our Special Transportation Fund supports the operations of the Department of Transportation and motor vehicles. We have significant operating deficits, and we are on an insolvency road. Infrastructure is critical. We need to make sure that this investment in infrastructure is sustainable and significant. Infrastructure, we all know, is so key to our economic growth. We know construction jobs will come from infrastructure improvements, but we also know that infrastructure allows people to get to jobs easier and will continue to work to attract more jobs to the state of Connecticut. We all want a high quality of life, vibrant towns and cities, healthy communities. If we don't address this issue, continued congestion will lead to delayed response times for emergency personnel, aging transportation. Infrastructure also leads to dangerous conditions and public safety. We need a plan that ensures adequate investment in our transportation infrastructure while achieving financial sustainability and, again, minimizing the impact to the state of Connecticut taxpayers. Thank you so much. And I'm going to start with Representative Russ Moran.
Good morning, and thank you, Mayor Cantor. It's great to be here, and I got to say, what time is it? It's 11 o'clock, isn't it? It's not peak time. Look behind us. There's a problem here in this state that the mayor's highlighted, and I'll say 30 years ago, give or take, was the last time I stood up near a project of this magnitude, worse than this magnitude, when they rededicated the Myanus River Bridge after my stepfather, who was a Greenwich resident like the governor. And it's so great to work with a governor that understands the needs of the transportation infrastructure of the state of Connecticut. It's so great to stand with him as he takes a bold stand to talk about implementing tolls, something that's not necessarily always popular, but it's great that we have a leader that wants to do something to help not only the business community, because as the mayor alluded to, sitting in traffic wastes business people's money. It hurts the state of Connecticut. It hurts the economy, and building that infrastructure up and making it easier for people to get where they need to go within the state of Connecticut, good for business, and it's great for the working men and women that will build this infrastructure, that will help us grow. So today, I just say thank you, Governor Lamont. I'm proud to stand with you, and I encourage everyone to get on board with this program, because this project is in my backyard. And I can't tell you how many times people in the town of Wethersfield say to me, when are you guys going to do something about this? We have the man in charge that's going to help us get there. So I thank him, and I thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Representative Moran. And I also wanted to remind my husband's grandfather was a toll collector in I think it was Branford in a long time ago. This is a different world. We're talking about a different design, and the governor knows that. Now I'd like to introduce Joe McGee from Fairfield County Business Council.
Good morning. I'm Joe McGee from the Business Council of Fairfield County.
Thank you, Joe. That is so well said. So with that, I would like to introduce the governor with really the courage to take on this issue head on. Thank you so much. Governor Ned Lamont.
All right, good morning, everybody. Pick up where Russ left off. He says it's right in his backyard, and this is something we've been looking at for an awful long time. It's dangerous, it creates congestion, it slows things up, and we just clipped a ribbon on it. We're getting going. It'll be done in the next 30 months. But we have these issues all over the state. We all have something like this in our backyard. Sherry Cantor and I, we go over I-94. We see the viaduct. You see those X's. Those X's mean not in a state of good repair. We have work to do on them. And just maintaining it is costing us tens of millions of dollars a year. And it's not like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We don't have time to do that any longer. Now is the time. You know, Joe McGee from another part of the state, down in Fairfield County, they know that I-95 corridor is gridlock. They know what that means in terms of jobs. And there's two exits there, you know, one in Stamford on the southbound lane, one in Bridgeport on the northbound lane, just like this. If you could clean up those exit ramps, you could declog dramatically and make such a difference. Look, I always thought if you took 5% of the cars off the road, you'd be 5% faster. Not true. If we can get these choke points, we can dramatically impact transportation, and all those hundreds of thousands of hours wasted that Sherry was talking about would be productive. And that would mean jobs, that would mean growth, and that would mean opportunity. And we can't put it off any longer. I'm really proud to have folks here from Southeast Connecticut. They know what that means. Mike Pissarro, Tony Sheridan from the chamber there. What that means in terms of the Gold Star Bridge. What that means in terms of accelerating Shoreline East. This is all over the state. This is just so key to our future. And I love the fact we got business and labor here. You know, Nate and Teddy and all the guys, Don Schubert. You know, this is good paying jobs, good paying Connecticut jobs going forward. There's a bipartisan consensus. There's mayors from across the state, business and labor. And I think you're ahead of the politicians on this right now. And that's why I'm putting my shoulder to the wheel to get this done. I've only spent about 115 days in the Capitol building, and they'll do anything they can to avoid a tough vote. They'd love to borrow a little bit more. I think they'd love to have a study, and we're pushing hard. We have a bill. We have a bill that we put together, a bill that's ready to go. I'd call the bill, I'd get it out there, and I'll give people a chance to vote on this. It is just so key to our economic future. And we put this off, we put this off, we put this off. We're not going to put it off any longer. I'm going to make sure that the legislature has to stand up, cast a vote, not a vote to study, not a vote to borrow a little bit more, a vote to get our transportation system fixed, ready for the 21st century. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you being here.
Careful, Governor. Thank you so much. The time is now. We're not going to have this opportunity again. This is a governor that wants to lead us into the next generation and compete with the states around us that have figured this out. So let's do it. Now we have Don Schubert from the Connecticut Construction Industry Association.
Thank you, Governor. It's a pleasure to be here. And Governor, we can't thank you enough for continuing the discussion on transportation. And right now, I think several things are becoming very clear in this discussion. One thing that's very clear is the Special Transportation Fund needs about $700 million a year for the next 30 years just to maintain what we have. Another thing that's becoming very clear is mobility is important to Connecticut's future. And unless we invest in transportation, Connecticut has a very bleak future. And one other thing that's becoming very clear is that tolls is the only proposal that we have seen that doesn't put 100% of the burden on the Connecticut taxpayers. So, Governor, thank you for your leadership on this tough issue. It's always a pleasure to be here, and we're going to be with you right through this. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, John. Your voice is really important. Now I'd like to introduce Nate Brown, I think Laborers International, or Operating Engineers.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Governor, and to your staff for your tireless effort on this very important issue here in Connecticut regarding tolls and our infrastructure. We've come to a crossroads here where it's finally time that we get something done in Connecticut. As Don alluded to, do we continue to pay 100% of what it costs to run our infrastructure here in Connecticut, or do we look at maybe paying 60 or 70%? It's time to share that cost to other folks that travel through our state as a pass-through state and don't stop here. Transportation in Connecticut, our highways, roads, and bridges has become a hindrance for our economic development, public safety, quality of life, and those things need to change. As we heard from the business community down in Fairfield County, what it means to get those projects up and running, to move traffic, move our commerce, bring businesses and good jobs back here to Connecticut. We need this to happen, and we need it to happen sooner than later. So on behalf of the operating engineers, Governor, and the Connecticut State Building Trades, we thank you. We have 100% support behind this issue, and we'll be with you every step of the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Nate. And now we have New London Mayor Mike Pissarro.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm so proud to stand here with the governor, and I want to thank Commissioner Giletti for a plan, a well-thought-out plan that works. You're delivering the solution. I want to thank the governor of this state for his political courage to move this initiative forward and to stand up for all of us. The people in my city cannot afford to pay for 100% of what we need to do for the infrastructure in our state. We need to tap into the resources of all the people that use our transportation system in order to rebuild our infrastructure. Down in southeastern Connecticut, we have a bridge that opened up in 1943, and it's a truss deck bridge. It needs to be rebuilt. We've waited too long. How long are we going to wait? Traffic no longer moves on I-95 many days a week, especially in the summer. We cannot do business any longer. We've waited too long. And we need to free up resources so that you can connect the southeast corner of the state with the rest of the state economy. We have very few commuter trains. We need commuter trains in southeastern Connecticut. In fact, we need to connect our commuter rail line with Rhode Island. That's going to move this economy. This is the plan that does it, a sustainable revenue source for the STF. Let's do it. Let's get it done. The leaders in the General Assembly have to step up and help the governor get this proposal over the finish line. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, Mayor. We have Tony Sheridan from the Eastern Connecticut Chamber.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm right behind you.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. I'm very proud to be here with the Governor and the Commissioner of DOT to support this effort. You know, the practical side of all of this is that you can't build a modern, state-of-the-art infrastructure on a governor's re-election cycle. You need up to 20 years to plan, do some long-term planning, and you need a steady stream of revenue. That's what tolls are about. Look, there are good people on both sides of this issue. It's a tough decision, but quite frankly, we have no choices right now. We have to modernize our infrastructure. We're in a global economy, and quite frankly, it's bordering on being embarrassing. So, Governor, thank you so much for taking the lead here. Where are you? There you go. And we're all with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. So that's the end of our program, but I want to say if we stand still, we're going to lose. We need to take a step forward. And the commissioner and the governor have a plan. Don't run in fear. Step forward and take this challenge on. Thank you.
Governor, will you take some questions about your plan?
Joe Giletti will.
We understand you have a plan. Have you been assured that it will be filed? Is it ready to go?
We have a plan that's ready to go. I think it's been agreed to by the transportation leaders and all the relevant committees, and I'm ready for them to bring that out to the floor. Let's get that, see the light of day, and have a vote on it
The highlights there that were highlighted in your letter yesterday?
More details to work out. They said they're not ready to do that yet. They still have a few more details to work out. What is left to negotiate?
Not much. I think we're ready to go. I think I'm ready for them to call the amendment. Is that what it is? Get it out there. Let's put a fiscal note on it. And let's get people ready to vote on something real and important and key to our future.
And this would be separate from the tolling plan. Would be separate from what we have to do now in order to shore up the special transportation fund.
No,
Would that be as part of the budget? I mean, the bonding that you would be putting towards that, or would that be as part of this?
I didn't quite follow that, but look, there's a certain tendency to want to borrow and borrow and borrow. That tends to be the Republican plan for transportation. Maybe do a little study, and that's not what we've got. We got a bill out there that has a long-term solution to our transportation needs. You know, maybe we do some bonding in the short term, but it's got to be a bridge to a sustainable way to fix this. It can't be a bridge to nowhere, which is the Republican plan. It's going to be a bridge to a way that we have a sustainable revenue source that fixes our transportation, which is so key to fixing our economy. That's what's in that bill, and that's what I'm ready to see.
How much bonding are you willing to put forward then to get us over the short-term hump?
We've got right now in our latest bill, we do $100 million, focused mainly on rail, Shoreline East, Metro North, to do that. We're willing to do something. I'm willing to meet people there. We want to get this going soon. But the real thing is, how do you have a sustainable revenue stream to fix our transportation? Nobody has a better idea than tolling. If we borrow the money, it's 110% paid for by us. The 10% is the interest rate you'll be paying every couple of years. And that's not sustainable.
You floated the idea of taking tolls off the Merritt Parkway as an olive branch to lawmakers in Fairfield County who may not support this plan. And if you were to do that, wouldn't that mean raising rates on the interchanges to meet your revenue goal?
Look, I have reached out to Republicans and Democrats. I've tried everything I could to get the legislators willing to step up and cast a tough vote. They don't always like a tough vote. So those are one of the ideas we got. Right now, our plan is very clear. It's ready to come out of the transportation committees. It says no more than 50 gantries, no more than these 4 major highways, and that's what the bill is.
The second part of my question was, would that mean raising rates on the interchanges to meet your revenue goals if no tolls were on the Merritt?
No, we can figure out how to do that. We have said very clearly what the rates are going to be, more or less where those gantries are going to be. And we don't have to do any of those. What we are working on right now is the discounts, how we can provide a credit to working families. We can preload that under their Easy Pass to make that a lot more supportable. How we can bring down bus fare to, say, $1 a ride. Again, get some of those cars off the road, make it easier and a lot less expensive for people to get around. Those are the things we're in the process of putting out, and they're in our bill.
Not doing the Parkway is an option? You didn't answer the question, Governor.
Reducing the gasoline tax, either committing to a reduction, say, when the toll revenues come in, or even moving some more sales tax money into the STF now. Has a gas tax cut even been researched or explored as a sweetener?
Yeah, we have looked at that amongst other ideas. But we got to get the revenue stream up and operating. Keith, you know better than anybody else that our special transportation fund is really close to insolvency. It's not even a question of just keeping things in a state of good repair. It is out of money. Gasoline is no longer the way you can do this. Once we get the tolling revenues up and operating, once those revenues come in, yeah, we'd look at the gasoline as one way to mitigate things and tell folks and taxpayers, we know we're doing everything we can to make this work for you.
Is not tolling the Parkway really an option? Is that what you said or not?
No, what I said is our bill is very clear. 50 gantries, those 4 major roads, you know what they are, and that's what's in the bill coming out.
Thank you.
As far as your plan for getting a lot of people in the business community here, and many of them see that as tolls or an investment. What about the people who came to your office yesterday with the 100,000 signatures? I mean, that's quite impressive for them. What do you say to those people who are dead set against them?
Give me an alternative. It's so easy to say what you're against. And you're right. They said no tolls. They said, okay, you want to borrow more. That's the Republican plan, because then you're going to be paying for it. Your kids are going to be paying for it forever. We have a plan where, over 40% would be paid for by out-of-staters and by the truckers. All I need is somebody to come up with a constructive alternative. There have been no good alternatives I've heard. Yeah, I'm really proud that we got business here, we have labor here, we have folks, mayors from all over the state. I mean, this is what it takes to bring people together. Now we have to lead the legislature and make sure they can cast a tough vote.
Do you have the votes in the Senate?
I think so. It's not an easy vote, though, Christine. You know, everybody would hope this would go away. Maybe we can do it in 2 years or 4 years. That's been the attitude for a long time. Look, I was elected to get this done. I ran hard that we're going to get this economy growing again, and that's what I mean to do. I'm not sitting around waiting. As Tony said, it's not some gubernatorial election cycle. Let's get it done and do it right.
What's your view of the payroll tax proposal of Senator Pissarro?
Look, I understand. It's an interesting idea, to tell you the truth. You know, Trump's tax bill, where you can't deduct state and local taxes, is costing us billions of dollars. So we're trying to find ways, Mark, where you know, we can get some of that money back from the feds. It's a big, complicated bill. I appreciate the intent behind it, but we're going to have to study this really hard. We can't rush it into this cycle. I'm sorry, you were trying to say something.
As far as your plan for the Charter Oak Bridge, how is it similar or different than the proposal that Governor Malloy floated in 2015 and ultimately canceled last year?
Your question is specific to this bridge? This is the plan. This is what we're going to do. We're going to get the double lanes. Joe can tell you about this more, what that means in terms of ending the gridlock. And we see plans like this all over the state. I represented the two that we have down on I-95 that end the gridlock, take a lot of risk and danger off the roads, and it's the type of things we got to do.
Is it the same plan that Governor Malloy proposed in 2015, or
it is the same plan. The question is, this Charter Oak, this is the design that we did a couple years ago. Yes.
It's to make it a left-hand exit, a double-lane left-hand exit, right?
No, the plan was that what we would do is we would add a lane for a couple of miles over here on 91 and make it a double-lane exit going off. If you can do that, you can see right now, we're in off-peak right now. You see the traffic that's up here? When this turns into peak, it goes all the way down. You relieve this congestion point, it affects all the way down towards New Haven. All right, in other words, it's at least a 10 to 20 mile effect on what's going on here. So if you can add an additional lane here and then put a double lane off, what you'll do is relieve that backup that's going on 91.
Yeah, I'm going to let you guys go, but I got to say that this is the most important thing we can do as a state. You know, was it Joe, you know, so we can do taxes and the budget, and but if we don't fix our transportation system, we're going to be in the same economic gridlock that we've been in for the last 30 years. That's why I'm putting my shoulder to the wheel on this. That's why I'm proud to be standing with each and every one of the folks here. Let's get Connecticut working again. Thanks, everybody.